Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for coming out tonight. This is a different kind of a concert, as you can tell. We kind of think of it as as a concert in the round. We just keep moving the sound around. We get to hear each other a little bit closer up, and you get to see a side or an angle of your child that maybe you haven't noticed when they're playing before. So we hope you enjoy that. The theme of our concert tonight is Hooked on Classics. I don't know, I'm a little older than some of you, but once upon a time there was this big thing in the late disco era where they took all these classical themes and they would put them to a disco beat, and they called it Hooked on Classics. And it was such a hit that then they put all these other classical melodies and they made Hooked on Classics 3 and Hooked on Classics 4. Well, we were having a conversation earlier in the year. I was talking to the students, especially I think it was in 6th grade, and I talked about, all the classic melodies, these songs and I started thinking about it. I said, they don't know necessarily what those classic melodies are that we're so used to hearing, that are part of the culture that has shaped the music that we listen to. And so I said, we need to actually explore a whole bunch of those great composers and put them all together on one concert. And so that's what we're doing here for you tonight. We're going to work our way through, as you can tell, looking at the program, that there are a bunch of different composers that we feature, different time periods, and we've tried to talk about each one of the songs, or at least a couple of them for each one of the bands. So we're going to continue on and take us to a little bit of Mr. Schubert and Mr. Rossini, and two all-time favorites. that is a bit of a jump. When we talked about classics, and then jazz band came along, I said, wait, what are we going to do with jazz? And I said, well, what are the classics in jazz? So the first piece that you heard them play is called The Second Line, and what that goes back to is New Orleans, and it's a standard melody that if you were in the streets of New Orleans and there was a funeral going on, they would come down the street, and that was one of the melodies that they might start playing, and all the people marching along to take the body to the cemetery. That would be one of the melodies that you might hear in a street parade in New Orleans that would impromptu happen. So they started with the basics of the earliest parts of jazz. It's kind of crazy to move from that into Mr. Handel or on to the next one that we have with Franz Liszt, but we're going to keep on moving. And the concert band will continue on with a little bit of Hungarian Rhapsody number 2. If you remember from earlier in the year, we talked about sixth grade band, and we talked about the strengths and the things that we need to overcome the shortcomings. One of the strengths is that we get to work together. We get all the flute players together in one class with the clarinets, and we get all the percussion in class, so they're all together, and we can focus in on them. That's one of the strengths, but that also works as a weakness because we don't get to play together. Like the seventh grade plays together every single day with all the members of the group. The jazz band started up second semester, but they play together with everybody. And so when sixth grade gets together, we're hearing things that we haven't heard before. And this year, we had one rehearsal today with the sixth grade to put these things together. So I am super thrilled with what they've been able to achieve, how far they've come, and how hard they have had to work to overcome all that. We had a rehearsal today, and I was happy, but I was happy like I knew there might be some problems, but there weren't. We kind of got through it. We fixed a couple of things. They really came at it. I would stop and make corrections and say, hey, wait, you've got to listen to this other group. And they would stop and listen to that other group. For me, that means that they get it. And I've been very happy working with them all year. And I look forward to seeing them continue to grow this year and on into next year. We have a bigger group of sixth graders this year than we had last year due to COVID. So the sixth grade band was slightly smaller last year. Next year, hopefully, it'll get a little bit bigger, and our seventh grade will also get a little bit bigger. I know that we're scheduling right now for next year, so as you're thinking about that and how things work, remember that next year, the seventh grade band is a full year. Everybody meets together all the time. We play a lot more music. We play it every day, so it moves along at an even faster pace. So hopefully that'll make it even more fun and exciting. The reason I led into all of that is because this next piece of music, normally in sixth grade, we don't try to do as many things as we're trying to do in this. There are, I think, 8 or 9 different melodies in here. We change tempos, we speed up, we slow down. Normally it's not something you can pull off with sixth grade, but with this sixth grade, it's gone really well. So hopefully, I'm not saying ahead of time how awesome they are, and then they have a mistake here or there, but hopefully we'll make this work. But this next one, Classical Bits and Pieces, hopefully you recognize a number of the different melodies that we have mixed up in here. While the percussion changes places here, I want to just take a second. If you look around this room right now, at 4:30, the volleyball teams were in here practicing. And it went from this room having volleyball nets up to all these things being put out, set up, moved down the hallway, doing all that kind of stuff. And we had a couple of student volunteers, and I want to just take a second to thank Tanishka, Rafika, Shrimeta, Devin, and Pushkar. I want to make sure I wrote them all down so I wouldn't forget somebody. But they came in here and worked for about an hour getting everything set up and put in the way that, that we had to set it all up here. So thank you very much to them for all of that work. I won't embarrass them and make them stand up, but thank you very much for all of that help. We really appreciate it. Along that line, just in case I forget at the end, if you would be so kind when this concert is all over, all the folding chairs, we can fold them up flat and just put them against the wall on that side, and parents help put all the rest of them on that side, so all the metal folding chairs on either side against the purple mats. And then students and parents can help us stack up chairs, and the band, the black chairs, and the percussion, put them all away also. But we're going to move on now. In 7th grade, we always do a nice little unit on a gentleman named Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and we'll be doing that towards the end of the year. But right now, we're going to play one of his part of the theme from one of his pieces. This is Mozart's Symphony Number 40. The 7th graders have also shown so much improvement this year. We started off as I kind of felt like we were kind of a ragtag kind of group that kind of we were making it all work together. And over the last month or two, it's really changed. And now it's this nice, rich, deep, full, mature sound. We've got people playing bassoon and tuba and all these French horn, all the different instruments are starting to get covered more than they were before. We're starting to fill out our sound and make things even better. And the musicians as a whole are all getting better and better. And many of them participated in the Soul Ensemble Festival this year, and next year we get to go on into Band Festival and a lot of other neat things, but it's been a lot of fun watching the growth and maturity happen here, so it's been a lot of fun. We're going to continue on here as soon as we get that timpani tuned up, which always takes a little bit of effort. We're going to play a piece of music that features melodies from an opera by Mr. Bizet, one of his only famous pieces, or one of his most famous pieces. So, we're ready to go. All right. As I alluded to a moment ago, jazz band is a class. These are all 8th graders that also signed up for symphonic band, or in some cases, advanced orchestra. And they are all, also, you get 2 hours to pick from, to choose classes for in 8th grade. And all of these students decided that they wanted to not only be in symphonic band, but they also wanted to do this jazz thing. So they get to be with me for 2 hours in a row, back to back every day. We're exploring different types of jazz styles. As I talked about, we started with New Orleans, and then we went into, the last one was a classic Thelonious Monk song called Round Midnight. And the next one is Mr. Herbie Hancock's very popular jazz tune, classic jazz tune called Watermelon Man. Some of these people stand up doing solos. They've never done that before, and they're a little bit nervous. So if you hear someone playing a solo and they sit back down and you get done, don't be afraid to applaud and tell them, yeah, that was a great job. You stood up in front of everybody and improvised and made something up that you had never played before. So we want to make sure that they get the credit that's due for that. So here we go again with Watermelon Man.
next Monday is Mr. Havela's birthday, for those of you who don't know. And he has led us and motivated us, and we'll never truly know how to fully show our gratitude. But until then, Mr. Havela, this is for you.
Thank you very much for that. Yes, it is on Monday. Always the lucky 13th, the day before yours, right? There we go. We always know we have that argument back and forth because I think the 13th of March is the most important day, and he thinks the 14th is for some reason. So I don't know. Thank you all for coming out. Again, drive safely. We look forward to seeing you again at our spring concert. For the 7th graders, seeing you at the Showcase of Bands concert also, and the jazz band, anywhere we can let them play. So, last thing I wanted to point out to you about the jazz band, just because the gentleman that's playing the trombone, that played the trombone solo, 3 months ago didn't play trombone. He's a French horn player who before that was a saxophone player and was going to play trumpet in jazz band, and then said, well, maybe I could play trombone. And the trumpet players that are standing there 3 months ago were not supposed to be playing trumpet. They were playing something else. One's a baritone player, one's a clarinet player. And they said, hey, I'm going to go home. Can I learn trumpet? Although one of them did play it before. But they started out, we got a tuba player over here playing trombone, and we've got clarinet players playing saxophone. I'm pointing it out because jazz band, we kind of convert, we let people learn new instruments, we kind of play around with that. It's a little more relaxed. And so, I forgot one of the best ones. So we had a concert in December, right? Jazz band played, we kind of put it together. We had a couple morning rehearsals. After we got done, the oboe player in 8th grade band said, Mr. Villa, I play guitar, sorta. Could I play bass in jazz band? Could I learn how to play bass? And I went, here's the music, here's a bass. 3 weeks later, how about this? He's reading it all over the place. So Sebi just joined us. He was just picked up the bass and started playing it. So nice job on that. All these guys, they just start picking things up. All of you. It's a lot of fun. It's as much fun as all the other classes here, and I don't need to give them extra credit, but that was just kind of weird that all those people learning different instruments, and yet they're doing so well. We're going to close things down, play a little bit of music of Johann Sebastian Bach. He wrote some music with his wife, Anna Magdalena, and this is from part of that, to the best of my knowledge, one of the minuets. And it starts off slow and pretty, and then we rock it out at the end. So here is Rock That Bach.